Hey YouTube, Dawson Ryder here with my review of Power Rangers DIno Super Charge episode 17, Freaky Fight Day, I believe is the title. Okay, so I'm going to start off by saying, so if you're going to get mad, just leave now, I guess. I didn't care for this episode, really. I'm not going to get any too much of a tirade or anything like that, but I wasn't a fan. At least I'll give it this, that it wasn't an episode that was trying to do, like, main plot stuff and then also filler. It was basically a filler episode, and any, like, main plot movement was backburnered. So at least it didn't try to do that weird, awkward thing it did for a couple weeks where it was trying to be both filler and plot, like, equally, and it came off as strange. But it's still, it's not right for it to be doing filler this close to the end game. Not to mention that it was doing what I thought was 2 PR filler cliches, but it was doing 3 of them at once. And you know, you have to deal with PR and toku filler cliches all the time. A lot of them aren't going to go away. Sometimes they're entertaining, sometimes they're not. I didn't really care for these. They weren't the worst I've ever seen, but I wasn't a fan. I definitely wouldn't be as hard on them if they weren't putting them in here near the end game. And it would also be kind of a different story if, for whatever reason, any end game was really late and we hadn't started doing anything yet. But it's weird to do, like, oh man, the plot's really going, let's do this. Okay, let's just take a vacation and do like 3 really dumb plots in one episode. And it's just, the pacing comes off as awkward, is what I'm saying. It's just, it really, like, makes me have a hard time taking the stuff that's going on seriously in terms of the threat the Rangers are facing or the plot, when they can just table it to do stupid stuff. And the cliches they did in this one was, it was a classic body switching episode, which I've definitely seen funnier ones. When we do these episodes for body switching, whether it's PR or not, I'm always curious in certain cases whether they give, like in this one, they gave the characters the voices they were supposed to have. So like Shelby sounded like Tyler and Riley like Ivan and so forth. But like Riley had a conversation with, or Riley Ivan had a conversation with his grandson, and he didn't care about hiding his voice. So I'm always curious whether that's done for the audience because they think we're so stupid we don't realize who's who, or whether it's actually coming out of their mouth. So that was what I was confused with this week. And sometimes the wrong voice coming out can be funny, but I also think that that's kind of like a cheat sometimes, because it's kind of fun to see the actors try to embody each other, like, you know, not only just dialogue but little characteristics. I guess the cast just didn't have it, so they decided to give them the voice, but I think that could have made it more fun, because it's really funny and interesting, or it can be, to see, like, if we were to see Shelby try to do Tyler's mannerisms with Shelby's voice, like, and they already swapped clothes, too, so it's like, I feel like they gave too many cues of who was who. Not like you're supposed to guess who it was, but I mean, I feel like they were overcompensating, thinking that kids were going to be stupid and not know, whereas they could have focused on actually making it funny. But I just didn't care for that, but it just seems weird to be doing it so late, and, because I don't remember anyone doing that, unless I'm misremembering it, and then we also had sort of a 2-for-1 cliche special with Ivan's story, which isn't as quite as much done an episode, but it's definitely been done, which is have a character that comes from the past meet his relative in present day that looks exactly like him. They did it with Kyoryu Gray, so that's like a directly related thing. So we did that, and it was just kind of like a street talking version of Ivan, and then there was also like a dual thing of art is subjective, which, okay, let's do that episode. So we did like those 3 things. It's just, I didn't care for it. It was just okay stuff. There's some really like low, like not funny slapstick farting humor in the episode. It was just, I just didn't care for it in general, like I said, and I just wish that they would have, if they wanted to do this stuff, just do it earlier. That would have been my main thing. Just do it earlier, it would have been better. I wouldn't have been as annoyed at it. It's just, it feels like we're halting the plot. And also, okay, let's talk about this just for a second before I get to final thoughts. So Ivan, this would be his direct descendant. So, like, you know, father, grandfather, all that stuff. So that implies either Ivan had sex, or this is from the timeline where Ivan goes back and lives his life out there. Now the problem with that is if it's that, if this is a result of Ivan having kids when he gets back, then we wouldn't be seeing the dinosaur museum, and like basically nothing would have happened and everything would be different. So basically, it like nonchalantly has a teen pregnancy. I mean, we don't know how old the mother was, but Ivan's supposed to be like 17 or something like that. And it's just, I don't think I've ever seen PR do that. It's just like, oh yeah, he just had a kid at 17. And let's assume, I mean, that's what we're going to assume, is that he knew about the kid or knew about the possibility of it, and this isn't from the timeline when he goes back. Why would he not have mentioned it, or any of his kids looked for him? It creates so many problems. Like, and if they wouldn't have tried to make Ivan 17, like if they would have just aged him up to his early 20s, it actually would have been kind of interesting for him to know he had kids, maybe had to find out they looked for him, and it just would have been actually an extra interesting character trait to have a ranger that's separated from his kids and was thinking he would never see them again. That would have been interesting, but this like just played it for comedy and just like nonchalantly wrote it off, and it's just, okay, it's like, I think that's one of my main problems with Dino Charge in general, is that it'll have these ideas, and oftentimes they are actually neat ideas, but they don't think them through. They're like, oh, this is a cool idea for a plot, let's do it. And they don't bother to check like how that's gonna confuse things right now and like contradict things they've already said. And I think that, like I said, there's ideas in the series I actually like, and there's actually even bits of ideas that I like about this grandson thing, but it's like, they could do these ideas but just think it through a little bit more so that you're not contradicting yourself and making me think so much like immediately. So yeah, that's kind of a funny thing. The only thing of real value that happened in this episode was at the very end, which is they separated Heckle and Snide. So that's a thing now, and Heckle's going off to the dungeons again, and Snide's free to be, you know, not Zeltrax, so that's a thing. So yeah, overall, I know probably people are going to be mad I was harsh on it, but honestly, it just wasn't that good of an episode, and we should be ramping up to in-game stuff at this point. So overall, I would give it probably a 5. It was just not good for me. There was lots of weird contradictions, if not a funny teen pregnancy and possibility of a spin-off about teen mom Xandar. But anyway, that's about it. Until next time, make sure you check out the Crazy Podcast at writersrangersrambles.com, and of course, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Until next time, Dawson Ryder, signing out.